Well, hello, little Miss Deltonell. So this is a book I've had for a little bit up in the board book collection, and I've held off because I wanted to do some work on making sure I get the pronunciations close to right, and also because we're going to do it in two readings. We're going to do one where I'm just going to read through the high parts, and then I'm going to do one where I kind of read through the things on each page. Okay? And one will be shorter, one will be obviously longer. So there we go. Let's do the short one. It's called Women in Art by Rachel Ignotofsky. Didn't look up that one. Sorry, Rachel. But this is all about art, and it starts with this great introduction. Art is... I'm going to try to see if I can do it this way. Maybe turn this a little bit more. Art is more than pretty. It's powerful. Many people think that our urge to make art is what makes humans special. Yet throughout history, women have been left out of the story of humanity's creativity. Over the centuries, women were often denied formal training, and many had to work under fake male names to sell their art. Still, they kept creating, and even after school and gallery doors started opening for women, racism barred female artists of color from entering. Yet women kept fighting to have their work seen by the world. Art is more than just something beautiful. With every brushstroke, chisel of stone, and line drawn, these women artists use their talent to tell truths, to talk about injustice, and even to heal. Today we celebrate their art and their stories. The next great artist could be you. That's very true. Okay, so I'm going to occasionally look down. Gua Da-sheng is a poet and painter. She lived from 1262 to 1319. And Gua Da-sheng was a pioneer in the Chinese art of calligraphy and in bamboo ink painting. One commentator said she is the most famous and well-known female Chinese artist ever. Elizabeth Louise Vigée Lebrun was a painter from 1755 to 1842. Elizabeth Louise Vigée Lebrun's oil paintings showed the rich and famous of the French royal court. So we're going to say Lebrun. Sorry, I should have looked down. Harriet Powers was a quilter from 1837 to 1910. Harriet Powers created quilts that told Bible stories and legends that were important to freed slaves. Mary Cassatt was a painter from 1844 to 1926, and Mary Cassatt became famous for painting the lovely relationships between mothers and children. Very cool. Nampeo was a ceramic artist from 1859 to 1942. Nampeo created a renaissance in Hopi pottery, and a couple of her pots you can see online, and definitely they're just gorgeous. Beatrix Potter. Now, you've had a few Beatrix Potter stories. We've read one. We've got one in the queue coming up here. The World of Peter Rabbit, right? Beatrix Potter. And she was an author and illustrator from 1866 to 1943. And Beatrix Potter wrote and illustrated the beloved child's classic, The Tale of Peter Rabbit. And there's little Peter there, but she has quite a lot of other stories that she also wrote and illustrated. Now, we have a bit of a timeline, which is really cool here. So we're going to just point out some things. Archaeologists believe 3/4 of cave paintings were made by women. Very cool. Women worked alongside men in making Grecan pottery. They probably, though, didn't have the chair technique you have down, little Deltonell. Christine de Pizan illuminated manuscripts and poems are considered the earliest feminist art in the Western world. 1398. 1876, Mary Edmona Lewis was the first internationally acclaimed African-American sculptor. Read a biography on her, an amazing story, coming over adversity repeatedly and often, and I've seen a lot of her cool sculptures around the United States. Thelma Johnson Street became the first African-American woman to have her work bought by the Museum of Modern Art, Rabbit Man, 1941. And the National Museum of Women in the Arts opened in Washington, D.C. in 1987. Painter Frida Kahlo became the first Latina woman featured on a postage stamp in 2001. And now, next great artist could be you, little miss. Just have to spend some time at it. Janine Paquin was a fashion designer from 1869 to 1936. And Janine Paquin was one of the first major female fashion designers. Georgia O'Keeffe was a painter, 1887, 1986. And Georgia O'Keeffe painted large close-up paintings of flowers and nature. And your great-aunt, Your great-aunt, Marwa, has been to her where she lived and visited a lot of museums with her paintings. Augusta Savage was a sculptor from 1892 to 1962, and Augusta Savage was one of the first sculptors to depict only people of African descent. Dorothea Lange was a photographer, lived from 1895 to 1965, and Dorothea Lange captured important moments in American history in her photographs, and this is a picture of a mom with her children during the Great Depression. Frida Kahlo was a painter, 1907, 1954. Frida combined Mexican folk art and magical realism in her vibrant paintings, absolutely gorgeous work. Sippy Pinels was a graphic designer from 1908 to 1999, and Sippy Pinels was the first female art director of a major magazine, which is very cool. And she had influences on, it says 17, Vogue, and Charm here. And here's a bunch of art tools different artists use, from the easels to a sewing machine, glue and spray paint, potter's tools right here, ribbon tool, clay, you know all about that. You and your mama there. Mary Blair, illustrator and animator, 1911 to 1978. Now, Mary Blair was an artist for Walt Disney Studios and the theme parks, and is known for the work on the Small World ride. That was an exhibit at World Expo. Ray Eames, industrial designer, lived from 1912 to 1998, and Ray Eames designed furniture that defined the style of the 20th century. Very cool. Elizabeth Catlett, a sculptor and painter, printmaker, 1915 to 2012. Elizabeth Catlett created sculptures and art prints to show the struggle and strength of the Black community. I'm going to look at my notes on this one. Yayoko Sama is a sculptor and performance artist, born in 1929, still making art. Yayoko Sama has created hundreds of paintings, art exhibits, and clothing items using dots. So she's a woman that uses dots. Faith Ringgold, painter and fiber artist. And Faith Ringgold combines writing, painting, and fiber arts to create story quilts. Very cool. Maya Lin was an architect, born in 1959. Maya Lin designed the groundbreaking Vietnam Veterans Memorial in Washington, D.C., changed the way memorials were seen, both on the mall and elsewhere around the world. And then we have these more women in art. Helena of Egypt, ancient Egyptian painter. Mary Edmona Lewis, marble sculptor. Tarcella de Amaral, modern art painter. Lola Alvarez Bravo, a photographer. Amrita Shear Gill, avant-garde painter. Wendy Carlos, electronic music pioneer. Zaha Hadid, an architect that has done some amazing buildings. And Sokari Douglas Camp, a metal worker and metal sculptor. Throughout history, female artists have created exciting, new, and important works that inspired the world. Many had to struggle to get their art seen. Now we can restore these women to the rightful place in art history. Let us honor their legacy by continuing to create. Build what you see in your wildest dreams. Create something new. Share your ideas with the world, and go out there and make your own masterpiece. So there you go. That was the short version. So with that, we're going to do some knucks, high five, low five, twists, and twirls, and loves. To you, and to any of the bigs watching, and to any of the other people watching out there. Hope that was enjoyable. Look for the longer version here in a moment.